Is it Friday night already?
Oh, yeah. It's Friday night, baby. How are you doing, Bill?
I'm doing great. How was your week, RFM?
It was wonderful. I think I'm getting better after this
Sounds
somewhat of a cold that I caught.
yeah.
And my throat still sounds a little gravelly to my ears, but I don't know how it sounds to you. Anyway, I'm happy to be feeling better. I love Friday nights. It's my favorite night of the week. You know why? Because of you, and because of this show.
Yeah, and I just want to let folks know that the phone lines are open. And so you can call. I'm going to put the banner up so you can see the number 662-667-6667. Same number it always is. And then I'm going to put the URL down into the comments. And so folks can join the show that way as well. And I'll also put it in the YouTube description. All right, Mr. Radio Free Mormon. It is what, January 17th, 2025. I always want to stick with your admonition that you sort of internally work with, which is to make sure that folks always know when this episode was being listened to. So, how are you?
Thirsty.
Little after dark flavoring there, you know.
That tastes as good as it sounded.
I'll tell you, on both ends. So what's on your mind? What have you been thinking about?
You know, I'm not even sure what you meant by that, but I'll just go ahead. I smiled and laughed as if I understood you, and then I thought about it and I said, "What the hell did that mean?" On both ends,
it means that on your side of things and on my side of things, we both took a drink at the same moment, and we both had the same experience.
Got it.
It happened on both ends. So
thank you for clarifying.
No problem. No euphemisms, no sexual innuendos.
Not on Mormonism After Dark.
That's right.
This is where we play it straight, folks.
That's right. We behave ourselves, not even mostly.
Can I tell you something?
Yes, sir.
I'm sorry. It's time for the obligatory. How was your week?
Oh, it was great. Now tell me what you
Okay. Now, polite stuff aside, I have a listener to the show, or at least to me. Anyway, they messaged me about something that will be of great interest to you. I know it was to me, because we've certainly gone on and on about Elder Bednar's reversal of free agency to moral agency, right? And what this listener found was perhaps the predecessor, the actual watershed event back in 1992. And if Elder Bednar got it from anybody who was an apostle back in 1992, who do you think that would be?
There's only, who filled the role of arrogant asshole before there was a David Bednar?
What do you think the A stands for?
Dave, it's not Alan, folks.
No.
So it has to be our good friend Boyd K. Packer.
It is. Now, this is interesting, okay? This is a cut from the talk, April General Conference, 1992. The context is abortion.
And can I say something about it?
Sure, please.
First, finish what you're saying first, but I wanted
to say I was just saying it's about abortion, and basically he's trying to tell everybody how they should vote without telling everybody how they should vote, right?
Right.
And then you think, well, free agency, right?
Yeah.
And pro-choice. Yep. Choice sounds a lot like agency.
Yep.
So it sounds like the people who are pro-choice should be the Mormons, which was causing a lot of confusion. Yeah. So Elder Packer, I think, wanted to correct everybody who thought that free agency actually meant you have a choice.
Yeah.
And he uses the phrase, and he may be the one who coined it, of moral agency.
Yes. And so the thing I wanted to say was I have to let the audience and I actually know that Boyd K. Packer is the predecessor.
Oh, I was the one who I didn't know. Okay.
That's okay. So I don't know.
I was a dummy here. Sorry.
Oh, no.
I'm sure everybody in the audience knew. I've been carrying on for 5 minutes about something everybody knows.
No, I don't think anybody else knows this. But because I did all the research for the episode, knowing Boyd K. Packer came first. But Boyd doesn't go as far as Bednar. For in my mind, when I went back and listened to Packer's talk, it was that he sort of went half the distance. And then Bednar took it and like finished the marathon and closed the door on it. And so I just thought I could establish that the actual free agency being removed was Elder Bednar's thing.
Yes,
But
Boyd K. Packer passed the oxygen tank to Elder Bednar.
he did, and Bednar he took it. And some guys are just made for a certain role, like that movie was just begging them to be the star of the film. And I'm telling you, David Bednar is the perfect guy to be just the complete jerk in the top 50. I mean, he makes Elder Oaks shake his head and go, I can't believe this guy. Oh, he's a little cocky, isn't he?
I think so.
Oh, shit.
Well, by the way, just so you know, there's more. There's more. And kudos to no, we haven't even played the damn thing yet.
Play the damn thing.
Can we just play the clip? I gave it this huge buildup. Everybody's going. Just play the clip, so we'll stop talking about it.
Okay, you're in complete control of that clip.
Okay, here we go, everybody.
People who are otherwise sensible say, I do not intend to indulge, but I vote for freedom of choice for those who do. Regardless of how lofty and moral the pro-choice argument sounds, it is badly flawed. With that same logic, one could argue that all traffic signs and barriers which keep the careless from danger should be pulled down on the theory that each individual must be free to choose how close to the edge he will go.
Mixed metaphor.
The phrase free agency does not appear in scriptures. The only agency spoken of there is moral agency, which the Lord said, I have given unto every man that he may be accountable for his own sins in the day of judgment. And the Lord warned members of his church, let not that which I have appointed be polluted by mine enemies by the consent of those who call themselves after my name. For this is a very sore and grievous sin against me and against my people.
Technically, it's a grievous sin. I hate to correct a former teacher.
Yeah. Mr. Packer, before we let you go, is there anything else you wanted to say?
Mormonism Live. Better than touching your own little factory.
Wow. I get a chill every time I hear that.
I get a little,
I feel like he's haunting us. Now, there's going to be a couple more video clips, but right now, let's just put those to the side because we've got some people calling.
Yeah, well, they're actually in studio.
That's what I meant. I was being colloquial.
That's okay. Hey, the past is a foreign country. They do things differently there.
Indeed. I'm my most colloquial in a tuxedo.
Yeah, well, week after week, you win the I Look Better Than Bill This Week award. Your Mormonism After Dark.
No. You are too kind, sir. You're a handsome devil.
Hey, thank you so much. Mosiah, talking about handsome devils, how are you doing tonight?
I'm doing great, guys.
Hi, Mo. Long time no see.
Yeah, great to see you.
Which reminds me of a joke. What did Lewis say to Clark when they finally reached the Pacific Ocean? Long time no see. Are you ever not going to fall for that one?
Sorry. I'm just always going to laugh because every time you say it, I'm in this altered state of mind. So I don't remember the joke the next time.
I know. What? It's endlessly amusing then. If it's funny once, it's funny 100 times.
Okay.
Mo, to what do we owe the honor?
Well, I've got a few trivia questions if you'd like to hear.
Have you? Where did they come from?
They come from the Grand Old Celestial Pursuit.
And that's put out by Deseret, wasn't it?
Yeah, I believe so. Deseret book.
Is it time for us to announce our new sponsor, Bill?
What milk did you say?
I was saying Deseret Book is our new sponsor, everyone.
Oh, that's right. Okay. Well,
I'll
sorry.
give the straight line and the punchline. It's okay.
There you go. Go for it. Oh boy. All right. I'm sorry. I was focused on the fact that he said the Mormon pursuit, and I was going to fill in the audience that you and I both suck at this game. Nathan Detroit is better than the two of us put together. And as I was thinking about that thought, that got said, and you asked a question, and I couldn't do two things at once.
Okay, well, here's the thing. You got to turn off your chat. You can't be looking at the chat.
Oh, I wasn't looking at the chat, but I do peek at it.
Well,
But
yeah, I
what-
know. That's the problem because everybody's going to be shouting out the answer.
Okay, no looking at the chat. All right, here we go.
No, I'm putting it on private chat, so I got nothing on my screen. No chance of me cheating at all.
I'm just
You
going
can
to say
take my
funny
word for
things to you, make you laugh, so that way I can pay attention to the question. And you'll
Okay,
try.
okay.
Oh, okay.
Sorry about that.
Is Nathan coming on?
Oh no.
I hope not.
Oh, no.
gotcha.
Nathan kicked RFM's ass last time, and
Oh.
I didn't know any
I
of the
don't remember it that way.
answers.
I don't remember it that way at all.
All right, it was 2-2, I think.
Gotcha.
Go ahead.
Okay, so we're going to start off with a weird one. So the first question is the name of God the Father in the Adamic language means what?
So are we looking for the Adamic word?
Well, the word is Amen.
Yeah.
What does that mean according to Joseph Smith?
I know it's bullshit.
Yeah.
I don't.
Are you ready?
That's right.
Man of holiness.
Bingo.
Nailed it.
You got it.
I say that I should get at least a half a point for my answer because it is bullshit.
No, that's if it's not Amen, it's Arwen. Okay.
Son Anglesman is Sons of Angels, man.
Now that one is legit. The English. All right,
Wow,
here
for
we
Man
go.
of holiness is my name. Remember?
Holiness, baby.
Okay.
Okay, which church president made the first voice recording?
That would be Lorenzo Snow.
Close.
But no cigar.
Would you say voice recording, not on the
Voice
radio?
recording. Right.
I'll say Wilford Woodruff.
Bingo.
That's a long way from.
Fortunately, he said close after you guessed the next one.
Very true.
All
Very
right.
true.
I did Lorenzo Snow because I sort of think I remembered there being something from him,
Hmm.
but if it is, it sure as hell isn't that one where he says who has means, because the church would not want that one to be publicly accessible. We would have used that one by now. Him just saying it in audio, that would have had more of an effect. So that one doesn't exist, but there was something from him.
Hmm. Okay, so on that same theme, who was the first church president to speak on television?
Hmm. That's right.
What are you doing? Are you Googling
I was looking up something because I was going to make a joke. I was going to make a joke, okay?
That's
about
RFM
when you
being-
said that if we had an audio recording of Lorenzo Snow saying by their means, right?
Yeah.
Or
Who has
within their
means.
means,
Yeah.
right? Okay. Then they sure would make sure that it wasn't that it didn't come to light, right?
Yeah.
And nobody heard about it.
Right.
And I was gonna say, yeah, it'd be part of the missing 18 minutes, which would be a very funny joke. Except
but that
then
one I don't get.
it has to do with the Watergate tapes.
Mm.
There was 18 minutes that was missing from the tapes.
Convenient. Yeah. Convenient.
I deleted it.
Yeah.
You know, that kind of thing.
The other side
And-
had something they didn't want said too.
Yes. And then I thought, it has been so long. Was it 18 minutes or why did that? I started questioning myself because 18, why 18? Is it 18? And I was Googling it and it was 18 minutes. So that's what happens when you doubt yourself, folks. Learn
Yeah.
from my example.
You should always not doubt Radio Free Mormon and just assume he knows what he knows. And then if you figure it out later that it wasn't, like it's a rarity, you're better off just going with it. So,
well, you're very kind, but I make misstatements all the time. And yeah, so, and I appreciate everybody keeping me honest because I learn a lot when people correct me.
And you say it out loud. When you get corrected, I don't have to worry about it because you'll come the next episode or two and you'll let me know that you've been made aware of some correction. I've seen that happen a half dozen times in the time that you've done your work.
Wow.
We deeply regret that we could not take care of all who wish to come.
Well, and it's most all of them.
I feel like this joint is haunted. So Mo, is there another question? Yeah, I got two.
We got caught up on the
television. Television.
Yes, he was the first to speak on television.
Heber J. Grant.
See, I think Heber J. Grant was the first one to speak on radio. That's why I was asking about voice recording. But I'm going to guess David O. McKay on the TV.
Think again, sunshine.
Late. Got to be somebody before that.
Smith?
Which one?
George Albert?
Building.
G.A. Smith. George
okay,
Albert.
so the right before.
Yeah.
David O. McKay. What?
That was
no,
my
Joseph
guess.
Building was after David O. McKay, so it was a silly answer. But anyway, George Albert Smith.
Yes.
Yeah. Way to go. 3 for 3.
Well, I missed it. So I'm 2 for 1 and you're 0 for 3.
Yeah. And I think
I'm 2 for 3, you're 0 for 3, I mean.
Yeah. And if I can't count Nathan's points, because he was pinch hitting for me. If I can't count his points, then I don't think I'm doing that great at this game.
You're doing fine. I think you're gonna shine on this next one.
Oh, I'm sure. One more. Here we go.
Okay, one more. Let's
do it.
Okay, here. This is a movie one. Which Mormon won an Academy Award in the movie The Ten Commandments? And here's a hint. It was for the artwork, the illustrations.
Oh, I think I wonder if I know. I would have to guess Minerva Teichert.
Naya.
Okay, I'm going to throw a guess out then. God, Adele Parsons isn't that old.
How about Arnold Freiberg?
I was going to say him next because I wasn't going to say.
That's right. That's right.
You got it, Bill.
Freiberg. That was it.
I don't know. You got it, RFM.
No, on the second try, which doesn't really count.
Yeah.
You got it on the first try.
Yeah. But I didn't get a chance to say it, so it doesn't count either.
Mo, do you want to say anything before you go, Mo?
You know, I did want to just give a mention to old friend Randy Snider from Infants on Thrones. I don't know if you guys knew him. But I heard that he passed away recently, and just wanted to just say that he was a great guy. And
did you know him, Mo?
I did, yeah. I knew him a little bit.
How did you know him?
Just through Infants on Thrones. I know some of those guys, and they're good dudes. And Randy was just a great guy.
Yeah, I'm sorry to hear about that.
Yeah. Condolences.
But
man.
Pour a little out for him and his fam.
Yeah. I did an interview on Infants on Thrones, and it wasn't Randy. It was one of the other gentlemen, not Glenn either. I know Glenn well. And
was it Tom maybe?
Tom. And Randy and Tom would be the two feisty ones.
Mm-hmm.
And Tom gave me a hard time. And some folks are like, "Can you believe those guys did that?" But at that time, like I wanted to put all the cards on the table. Those guys were great. Those guys were great at just going like, yeah, we're gonna joke and we're gonna laugh and we're gonna do some funny bullshit, but we're gonna get right to the heart of the thing and just speak at it, and having all four of them, they all four represented different points of view.
Mm-hmm.
And so I'm just really sad to see Randy's gone, and the work that he was a part of was instrumental, I think, in so many people's faith journeys as they started to deconstruct, and it gave them a crass place to work out your faith crisis, which I think sometimes is the best modality for some people to have.
Mhm.
So anyway, condolences out to them. Him and his
Absolutely.
Yeah. Well, thanks, Mo.
Thank
Take
you.
care, okay?
Thank you, guys.
Take
All
it
right,
easy.
bye-bye.
All right. Take care.
So I've got this idea, Bill. It just came to me. We were talking about Randy.
Yeah.
When I go, as go I must. And when that happens, okay, and I lay this body by, here's what I want you to do. So I'm putting you right now in charge of the funeral, okay? And we get
Hey.
everybody in there. We're going to pack it. We're going to pack it, baby. We're going to rent out a cathedral for this thing. But here's the thing. I'm in the casket, okay? The casket's up front. Top is open. You can see me reclined in this tuxedo with the white tie, please. And on the side of the tuxedo, excuse me, on the side of the coffin facing the audience, all right? So everybody can see it and they can't not see it every time they look up at me in my coffin. I want you to have a banner that says, RFM, you're muted. Will you do that for me?
So first off, we will do this. We will
Good.
bear no expense. We will get a big place.
Thank you.
And this is assuming you go first, because hey, I haven't really eaten that healthy most of my life, just so you know.
Okay. Well,
All
I'm
right.
planning on going first. Okay.
And if any
We'll
of
have a
us-
race.
Yeah, well, and you're only one of us has bleed out of their ass on the air, by the way. So it's still up in the air. But I will just say this: we will rent a big place. We will make it known to all of post-Mormonism and nuanced Mormons that the great Radio Free Mormon has passed, and we're going to put on a hell of a funeral with you sitting up in a tuxedo.
I don't have to be sitting up. I mean, I want to be comfortable.
You
Okay.
said leaning, didn't you? Didn't you say like lean?
Well, just like a regular one, right?
Oh, like
You
the
have to
little
get propped up a
3-inch
little bit so everybody can
3-inch
admire
incline.
your profile.
You want just the 3-inch incline, the standard? Is that what?
Yeah, that's fine.
All right, just the. Do
No
you
more
want
than 45 degrees?
a tuxedo, a white tuxedo? Should we at least like give people the image, like as they're walking up, going, "One," because that's the thing we all did. I wonder if they're going to be in their temple clothing.
Did you do that?
I
I
did.
haven't been to that many actually, where I would be looking for something like that.
I dressed a man once for that.
Because you were
we
a
lost
bishop.
we lost a member of our ward, and I was one of the 3 men to go in the room. And again, no disrespect to that, but rigor mortis is a real thing. That was not a fun. It's hard to get a guy's arms into like a small shirt,
Into a what?
like a small shirt, It's hard to get his arms.
I know they make it look easy in the movies.
It's not. Oh shit. Oh man.
Okay. Whew, just had to swallow there. We're about to have a big mess on my screen. That would have been great. That would have gone viral. I'll put it on TikTok.
Oh shit, guys! If you're not laughing at this shit, I don't know what you're doing.
I think they are. I think I can hear them from here.
Oh,
There's a
boy.
universal laughter.
Sorry about laughing so loud.
It's okay. We're not in the temple.
Can you believe you promised this thing that you wouldn't ever lose it laughing? Like they made it so even in the moments where the things were really funny, you had to go, oh, don't let it be too funny.
You're not talking about funny stuff in the temple, right?
No,
Just
no,
anywhere.
no. I'm
No
just
loud
saying,
laughter.
no loud laughter anywhere.
Yeah.
And so you promised a fake religion that you wouldn't laugh too loud. That's kind of crazy. That's weird.
Oh my gosh. Yes, you're right. And I can remember frequently actively not thinking about that. or just thinking that's weird because, and not even thinking, just putting it over here, being aware of it, but putting up in the attic with your crazy uncle and just going ahead and living life and laughing loud and going back to the temple and going through it again, but once again, keeping it up in the attic so that you never have to really deal with it.
Even if it's Jim Gaffigan, right? Gaffigan's known for just telling like G humor, PG humor. He doesn't really go anywhere where your kids are going to have their ears covered. But he says some funny shit. And he says the joke, and you should be laughing hysterically. But you've made a covenant to a fake religion that you just would never laugh that loud. Such a strange thing.
It really, really is. I'm sorry. And I was looking over here, but it is such a strange thing. And I think that's funny. That's funny stuff. That's a good observation. That could be like the start of a Seinfeld bit.
What else did you want to say about that Boyd K. Packer bit?
Well, nothing really, except for this appears to be perhaps the source, perhaps, or maybe David Bednar came up with it all on his own brilliant self. Great minds think alike, which means the inverse is probably true as well.
I believe somewhere Bednar connects the dots to Packer. So I think in one of the talks, you're sort of informed. It might even be on Fair Mormon or something, but wherever I was doing the research, there's somewhere where the commentary is that Packer was the first one to do this. It's strange though, like Packer's saying a thing. We'd have to go back and play it. And I don't necessarily need to do that, but he says a thing. But Bednar takes it like just another step further, which sort of, I don't know. He crosses the line that you can't come back from. Whereas Packer could just be re-articulated some way or something about what he's speaking to. I don't know. That's how I felt.
Very well put. I like that.
Yeah.
You're right. I agree with you.
Cool. Well, good.
But now we've got this, okay?
Yeah.
And this is just as important. And once again, a different listener shipped this to me with 2 words, "You're welcome" on it. So here's what I'm going to try and do. I'm going to put this up here, right?
Yep.
Go over here and see if this okay, now hang on. I'm going to put view.
Yep.
Slideshow.
Nailed it.
Bill just taught me this right before the show started. And here we go. Let's check this out.
This is good.
Hello, everyone. Cardinellis again for alphashark.com. And today we're field testing this 100% original hydration pack. This is what our Army Rangers and our Marines are wearing out there in Iraq and Afghanistan. And it holds over 100
Look at that hair, dude.
ounces of fluid. That's the same as over 9 water bottles. So we've come here to Central Park where everybody jogs and exercises just to see what life is like with or without the hydration pack. With the hydration pack?
Oh, man. That's pasty, dude.
Without the hydration pack.
I'm old and fat.
With the hydration pack? Without the hydration pack. With the hydration pack? I know. Without the hydration pack. With the hydration pack. Ooh, without it. So make sure you buy this bad boy today. It's only $39.99.
Okay, I just want to say, I am no longer surprised that that person tried to sneak a knife onto a commercial airliner as a joke.
Oh, it also tells you he has no line for how ridiculous he'll be in order to get somebody to pay attention to him.
Well, I don't know. He didn't go as deep as I'm willing to go. And you know, the amazing, he hasn't gotten anywhere near plumbing my depths. But this guy, I mean, look at the range, the acting range on this guy. He actually in this short commercial plays 3 different parts. Did you notice that?
Yes.
Yeah, he's like the guy, the cool guy. You know, he's cool, and he's got the whatever the super soaker is. The super sucker is what it is, and he's got that, and then he's the dumb guy who's just like, you know, trying to carry it all in these water bottles. Because obviously, if you're going to run a marathon, you want to have all that stuff on your back so you can keep drinking. I have no idea. I think if you're in a desert, you know, that's probably a good idea. You can be your own camel, but not when you're running. Anyway, so here we go with so he's got that character and he's got him down.
Yeah.
And he's also the announcer. Did you see that? He's also the announcer.
Yeah, he plays all the parts.
That was what surprised me. He's got quite a range on him.
It looks like a great backpack. I don't know if you know the facts on this, by the way, though. I know a little bit about this story too. He sold 3 of them, sort of, 2 technically. His mom asked for a refund. She ended up returning hers. But these backpacks that he was selling.
Wait a second. Now that's a line. That's a joke.
What were the views on this one? How many views did this have? Because I'm going to imagine this had like 20.
I didn't even notice. Well, I guess I could look it up.
I want to know. Let's take a second here.
Hang on a
Let's
second
look
here.
up on YouTube.
I'm not sure if I can. Oh, what? Hang on.
So my question is, did he invent a water bottle, backpack apparatus, and he's trying to sell it, or is he trying to create like a comedy fake pseudo commercial? Because it looks like a pseudo commercial. Yeah, I'm still here.
Okay, hang on a second here.
Oh.
Let me just stop. Okay, it was still going in my. Could you hear that?
No, I don't hear it anymore.
Okay, but you heard it. Okay, I stopped it. So here I am reporting from enemy lines. I'm in YouTube at the Alpha Shark Field Test Hydration Pack with Cardinellis. There's 428 views.
428.
But that's not surprising because it was only posted 13 years ago.
Gotcha. I'll tell you what, this should get more rounds. We could try to help make this go viral.
By the way, I'm not kidding. It has 428 views and it was posted 13 years ago.
Yeah. So he sold 3 backpacks, but his mom asked for a refund, and so she returned hers. But
How do you know this?
No, I'm just making a joke.
Oh, okay. Because it's a funny joke. It'd be funnier if it were true.
All right. So do you know if the backpack is like a company where if you keep playing these, we're definitely not gonna be able to monetize this.
Oh, you don't want me to play this one? Because I thought
no,
we could sort of trace the arc of Cardin's career from goofball in, Alpha Shark commercial to co-starring with some of the great actors of our generation, Bruce Willis.
Yeah. If Cardin Ellis has a unhealthy ego, he can probably get us on the last one. So let's
Okay. All right. Well, I'll get rid of that one then. By the way, if you want to see it, everybody, just go to YouTube, okay? And you Google.
Share this everywhere.
You Google the Jackal, Bruce Willis, Jack Black, and it'll take you right to this scene. And Cardinellis does an incredible job. I mean, really, I think you should get an award.
Jackal, Jack Black. What's the other words?
The Jackal, Bruce Willis.
Yeah,
there's different versions. Bruce Willis, Jack Black, and it will bring you right to the scene. Am I right?
Yes. Yep. So
this is the scene that made Cardinellis great.
That was the peak right there. Now he's in.
It's hard for him to find work now. He's working out of his garage.
Yeah, now he's into apologetic pseudopigrapha. So he's took it a drop off. This was it. That was the summit. All right. So there's that. The Jackal. Nice.
Okay. We're not going to play that, folks. You got to look that up on your own. I'm actually just I'm going to get rid of those slides right there. They're gone. So I can't accidentally demonetize this sucker.
There you go. Play it. Okay. So,
is anybody calling in?
We've got 2 phone calls.
Well,
nothing else with Packer. I'll take that one. Actually, you'll have to take that one off the screen. I'll put the first phone call on. All right, caller. What's the name?
Oh, hello. Hello. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
I hear you great. Can you hear us?
Oh well, fantastic! Hell yes, I can.
That's a spirit.
Yeah, I'm just trying to figure this out. It said, "What are you calling about?" And I was like, "I don't know." Well, all I know is I get to bash my old religion, so it's great.
Well, let's start somewhere then. So, what is the thing that made you most either frustrated or was most interesting as you took it apart?
Oh, I think just everything. You know, you kind of stand back and it's like, you know, I remember back in the day, for example, I used to, you know, sit back and I used to make fun of Scientologists and, you know, spaceships and stuff. And then one day I woke up. Well, actually, my wife woke up first. And then I just kind of woke up one day and I was like, holy shit, I believe in golden plates and and people becoming white. I was like, damn. Yeah, waking up from a delusion is very interesting.
Yeah, hey,
But I'm trying to find humor.
when Scientology sends a bunch of young people out on the Sea Org, they all get on a boat and work together. We all out in, you know, normal land, we all sort of realize that doesn't feel right. Taking the kids and putting them on a ship and having religious leaders sort of oversee them, making them work hard for little to no pay. Such an easy opportunity to manipulate them and abuse them. And then when you look at what a Mormon mission does, it does all the same things. It is the equivalent in a high demand fundamentalist religion as an equal mechanism. It is the same thing. So when you took other religions apart, it sort of had you eventually facing the fact that Mormonism was also just like them.
Yes. As a matter of fact, Bill, I thought to myself, I was like, wow, I did this for 2 years for free. It was
you paid
not just for free.
You paid
not just for free. You paid for the privilege.
You paid them. You
Billings, Montana, though. It was nice.
It's like you worked for Johnson & Johnson. It's like you worked for the Kellogg's company. And you went into their office one day and said, here's what I'm going to do for the next 40 years, because I just want to work so bad for this company. For the next 40 years, I will just go sell your product. And I'll do it. I'll pay you for the opportunity for me to sell your product. And that's what unhealthy and maybe religion in general does, is it figured out how to get everyone else goes, let's just start a business and we'll have people come in, they'll buy a product and they'll pay me and there'll be an exchange of goods. And religion goes, we could actually just skip that step. We could skip that.
Get people anything of value except for promises.
Yeah.
So that makes
sense. Hey, I have one really quick thing I wanted to say.
Please.
Yeah.
So I just thought that it was interesting because, you know, I love Mormonism After Dark because it's fun. I love hearing you guys swear because it's just right up my alley. But, you know, I mean, since you brought up Johnson & Johnson, you know, I really wanted to work for this company really bad. And apparently that's what they're going to do is take my Johnson.
Okay. Have a great night, caller. Thank you. I kind of get it, but I'm kind of thinking there should have been
you
something
get the dirty part. You just don't get the funny part.
I think that's it.
That's what it is.
Yeah. That just,
hey, if anybody out there got that, would you let us know what the hell the punchline was about that?
Yeah.
Because it was a job, right? Hang on. It was a job. Was there any more description to the job that would inform our understanding of taking his Johnson?
That he's going to lose his phallus? No, I've never got that.
He's going to lose his Johnson.
It's like he was missing a step in the middle of the joke. Like he missed.
I feel like we need to come up with a better punchline because that's not a bad. I mean, a better straight line, a better buildup. It's not a bad punchline, but we need a better straight line there.
The front half of the joke was missing.
Yeah, exactly.
That's cool. All right, so all right, we've got 3 more calls. I'm going to grab the next one here.
Okay, everybody wants to talk about their Johnson.
Yeah, I don't want to do that anymore. So if you can move on.
No, we want to talk about Bill's ass.
Yeah, please. Caller, what's the name?
Just 12.
Just 12.
Yes, I'm from Salt Lake City.
Okay.
And I was watching The Sun on AMC Plus.
The Sun.
And in that one episode, there was this woman that put stones in the hat.
Oh my gosh.
And she said she
Who is this really?
it.
And she said what?
You can see prophecies by putting her face in the hat.
That is the worst old woman impression I've ever heard in my life.
So she, so she, hold on. So she put her head in the hat. She put her head in the hat and was pretending to be like a seer as part of the show and sort of indicating that there was those kinds of folks around during that time.
Bill's biting.
Yeah, I just but is she related to Joseph Smith?
That was similar to Joseph Smith for sure. Joseph Smith definitely put his head into a hat. So I'm gonna let you go, caller. Thank you so much.
Jonathan Streeter strikes again.
Anything to get a viral short, huh, Jonathan?
Oh my gosh. No, I have no idea if it was Jonathan, but the problem is that now that he does that one thing, anything else he's going to get blamed for.
It's an easy guy to put it on. You did the one. And then LDS leaders do things all the time. And there's no amount of things that they can do before the believer goes the exact same distance.
Were you actually listening to this woman?
The person just talking to us?
Woman?
I think it could be a lot of situations, and
because I wasn't listening to her. I was just listening to how bad the impression was.
She was saying, watching the TV show, maybe The Sun, maybe, I don't know, Sons of Anarchy or whatever it was, and how there was an old woman on the show who put her head into a hat like a seer. And anyway, there's that.
Once again, you prove yourself a better person than I.
Yeah, there's a whole
to
host of situations, but
it was very nice.
Yeah.
You know, wouldn't I feel bad if this really was an old woman who can't, hardly be understood at all. And so no one ever understands her when she's talking. And then she calls into this show, and then, I just laugh at her and mock her. That would be terrible.
Yeah, well, I'm just telling you what could be worse is it's a 35-year-old man who can't be understood for anything he's saying. So
it was. You see, a woman who's that old is not that hard to understand. That's all I'm saying.
Okay, let's move on to
going too far. And to try and get myself out of the other hole I dug myself into with Jonathan Streeter. If Jonathan Streeter had done it, it would have been much better.
It would have been a better performance.
There we go.
All right, Alan. Is Alan the right name, my friend?
Yeah, Alan's the right name.
All right, Alan. What's on?
Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you great.
Well, a couple things. I just dial in occasionally to listen to you yahoos. You give me a laugh. But I don't know which would the general authority give the talk. After you leave the church, where will you go? And
Elder Ballard, I think.
Elder Ballard. Okay. Well, I just had a great experience. Where I went after the church. I don't know if you've ever heard of the organization called OLLI. It's OLLI. Stands for Osher Lifelong Learning Institute.
I've only heard of OLLIE.
No, it's OLLI.
Yeah, I hadn't heard of that.
It's a national organization where they have former professors that come in and they teach courses. It's like an adult education class, and associated. There's branches across the United States, and there's a branch here in where I live. And I went to an open house with them and been going to their classes, and it's just a great area of community. So really great people that I've got to meet and associate with, and we had an open house, and it's kind of like going to an old ward reunion when you go there.
So Alan,
that's where I went.
Is this on Sundays? This is on Sundays then?
No. This is a class. You sign. They got a catalog each year they put out, and you sign up for classes.
Can you do me a favor? Can you go into the private chat? Private chat. And just put the URL. I should say it that way because you're not in the studio. But if you go into the comments, and if you'll put a comment in and put the link to this. So in our show right now, the live chat,
maybe
you place the comment there and give us the address. I'd love to know where this is.
Okay, I'll see if I can find the URL where it's at. Yeah, it's
Lifelong Learning Institute at the UW. Is that what it is?
Well, it's at the UW. That's one. Yeah, you'll find them at the UW. You'll find them, across the nation in different, organizations. I think they have like 120 chapters.
Okay, I think I found their main thing.
When
The
I go
Bernard
to,
Osher Foundation page.
yeah, that's it.
Okay, so I can do
You
this.
nailed it.
Super. It looks like what? It's a low cost way to have access to continued learning, correct?
Yeah, it is. Yeah, you have continued learning. You have former professors who will come in and teach courses, 5 or 6 for 5 or 6 weeks on a topic like history, or people go and take classes on art or how to do creative writing. I take one called Cinema du Jour, where somebody comes in and you go to a local indie theater and you view a new movie every week. And it's just a great little community. And, everybody gets together. They have, twice a year in an open house, and it's just a lot of fun. So
it sounds like a lot of fun.
That's where I went.
Yeah.
Alan, this is a great
It is.
example of how there is actually life after Mormonism.
Yeah.
It is.
Even though when you're in the church,
and my other quick,
it as if there isn't.
Go. Yeah. No, I just I've been going to these for 3 or 4 years. Well, I didn't go during COVID. They kind of shut down and went virtual during COVID, but they're back on live and doing face-to-face sessions. And it's just, for me, it's kind of like a little bit like going back to school. But it's a great community. The only other quick comment I had is I was sad to learn from your earlier list that Randy Snider passed away. Infants on Thrones was one of my, gateways, that helped me get through more out. I loved what you said, Bill, about I like the crass, and Randy was on that edge. And he had to be a pretty young guy. I think he was local here, and from where I was at, he couldn't have been that old. So I'm sad to hear that. Infants has definitely faded away. I think I was listening to some of Glenn's last episodes. I don't know if he's still going or not. But
You may not know this, caller, but Glenn and I had right towards the end, I think, of him sort of doing public podcasts in the Mormon arena. But he and I had several long form conversations off of his book, Bathing with God, which I thought were phenomenal conversations.
Yeah.
Just talking about sort of how to manage one's feelings in the midst of your body and emotions being activated in really hard moments, and when life sort of throws curveballs at you. And he really took that inner work stuff really seriously.
Oh yeah, he was. I remember the Bathing with God episodes. Yes, those were fun.
Yeah, I really enjoyed those. So anyway, there's a connection.
Well, the only other thing that makes me sad every time you talk about our good buddy Bednar is he uses my first name as his middle name. It makes me mad.
Your first name is
David Allen, isn't it? Dave?
I almost said, your name's Jackal.
No, and I think it even spells it the same way as I do. It's don't do that. You're not allowed. I think I might be a year older, so I have dibs on the name. But anyway, he is such a jerk. Anyway, all right. Well, I'll let you guys go. Love what you do. I just want to let people know there's some place to go. If you're out there and maybe you see, you want to take a class, you can look up and see if there's a local chapter. Drop in. Great people, awesome. Great classes.
Thank you so much. I'm guessing that Bill is. All right. Thank you, Alan. Thank you very much. I'm guessing that Bill has taken that and you've already put it up in the live chat, the link.
Yeah, I did. I put it there.
Okay.
And I'll try to add it to the show notes as well. You may not know this about me. I got the chance to learn about you and your sort of special. Yeah, your sort of special. I don't want to say, what was it, like Sunday school classes that you were teaching that you recorded? The apologetic stuff when you were on the front end.
Yes. The Institute class from 1989.
Yes. I got to teach a senior citizen, non-accredited, it wasn't anything special, but I got to teach the local senior population in my hometown of Sandusky, Ohio. Huron is where Bowling Green State University, their Firelands campus is. And I got to teach non-accredited classes on Mormon history. I got to go into a room full of people and explain to them from the beginning of Mormonism all the way to the end. And I was already at the point in my life where, fuck it, I'm telling the truth. Like, I'm just going to lay out the history as it happened. And anybody watching would go, that's a crazy religion. Kirtland Bank Society, Book of Abraham all of it, seer stones, all that kind of stuff. And you'd be, I mean, you wouldn't be surprised. The seniors in that class who were never Mormon had foundationally more accuracy and more knowledge about Mormonism than the counselor in the bishopric and the 4 or 6 missionaries that attended this with me. They knew things about Mountain Meadows and the race ban. They knew things that the other people with me didn't know. Now I knew all of that, and I was able to.
This is in Utah, though, right?
This was in Ohio.
Really?
It was in Huron, Ohio. I taught senior citizens. It was 4 classes. Each one was 2 parts, and each part was like 3 hours with like a break in between. And I had a Google Slides that I used, and all I did was just take them through the entire history in like a 3 hours and then 3 more hours. So 6 hours of just Mormon history from beginning to end. And then I taught another 2-part class on Mormon doctrine and theology. And so I took them all the way through all the crazy beliefs and where they came from. And I wish I still had the certificate. I don't have it. But it was so much fun because I was already at a point in my head where I'm like, this is going to bother the people who came with me who want to believe it. And this is going to be so fucking fascinating to the people who came to learn about Mormon history. They're going to get all the shit that's crazy.
Nobody's got a more interesting religion than Mormonism.
No. I've said that before. I said, you know what? I'm mad at it, but I also respect it. It is the most fascinating. If I'm going to give my life to exposing a thing, Mormonism is the coolest fucking thing to spend time doing it to.
It's a cornucopia.
Yeah.
Of new things to talk about, to dig into.
And as Patrick Mason says, most of that fruit is rotten, but we're going to pour it out of that cornucopia, dump it into the truth cart, and take a look at it.
Yes. So I don't know if there's any other phone calls. I had something else I was going to mention.
There are, but please mention the thing.
No, if there are. No, let's go to the people, please.
Okay, I don't mind you breaking up the show with something too. So.
Oh, it's okay. I say power to the people.
All right, caller, what's the name?
Vox Populi.
John,
isn't that convenient? Go ahead, John. You're on Mormonism After Dark.
What do you mean, isn't that convenient, John?
it's a convenient name, easy to remember.
Yeah. You could be anonymous. We would never know.
You could be an old woman and we wouldn't know.
Well, it's great to talk to RFM and Bill Reel in person. I've listened to your show for a long time, but I just want to make a comment mainly on the loud laughter comment.
Please.
With the temple, everybody thinks it's kind of innocent, but then when you get to the really conservative, culty side of the religion, some people take that really serious. And when I was growing up, I had a very abusive, devout father. And he used to hit me every time I laughed on the top of my head with this. And, you know, and I wasn't the only one. I think my whole region was, you know, it was Utah County, which is at the time when I grew up, you know, President Hinckley came there after I got off my mission and said that it was the most devout area of the church, but it's also where they had the most abuse. And so I guess it was kind of par for the course. When you get really devout into Mormonism, you want to force your kids into obeying every little thing. And I had never been to the temple, but there's my dad beating me over the head as if I knew what loud laughter and, you know, all that was. It really can get pretty serious, even though, yes, it is a hilarious thing that they'd have you commit to, but some people really take their temple commitment to the nth degree, you know?
Yeah, just notice that you can be the best kind of Mormon and the worst kind of human being in terms of not recognizing boundaries, causing unnecessary harm in the world, imposing your anger and your own shadows on some other person in the name of God. And you can do things that the church would go, that's just a man standing up for his religion.
Yep.
Yeah.
John, question.
Yeah, I think it was part of the whole movement back in the 70s. You know,
Yeah, everybody beat
I
their
think
kids.
a lot of Christian groups were a little stricter that way. And,
Yeah.
Well, they are today,
you know,
too.
my dad, he's passed on now.
Hey, John.
I miss it dearly.
Yeah.
John,
Sorry, go ahead, Arvin.
I wanted to ask you. I could imagine that, you know, this kind of thing, this kind of treatment would maybe affect you later on in life. Is that the case?
Oh, yeah. I actually did try and sue the church about the abuse of my dad because Bishop Ricks knew about it, but they never reported it. So I'm a big activist for the church being forced to report abuse.
Not reporting it is the default
I don't know
position.
if it's ever
John,
correct.
when you say abuse,
Correct.
are
I
you
mean, my
talking about
dad,
more than this?
Say that again.
Oh,
Arthur.
much more than this. But
Yeah, I thought that's what you were talking about, was much more than this, what you've talked about.
yeah,
already.
there was much more than just the hitting on the head. That was kind of probably a weekly occurrence with my dad, but, you know, he did go beyond the bar of, you know, spare the rod, spoil the child.
You know, your dad would have come to his parenting with his own shit behind him that would have contributed heavily to him being the kind of person he was and what he did.
Yeah.
But a healthy,
yeah, my grandmother was extremely strict with him too.
Yep.
So.
But a healthy healthy church saying the right things, showing people really how to be better human beings and what should be tolerated and what shouldn't, and where safe boundaries and where consent should be, then a lot more people would have sort of that foundation to measure something against Christ's word and to get a whole lot more stuff right. The church didn't help, is my point.
Correct. For having the spirit of discernment, they didn't see very far.
No. Ask yourself, name one time Mormonism taught consent in anywhere in its correlated manuals, ever. Consent is a crucial principle to not abusing somebody. But institutions that abuse don't tell you the guidelines and rules of abuse.
Yeah. Correct. And I don't know if Curtin McConkie was involved with this other case, but my sister, oddly enough, married an abusive guy too.
Oddly enough.
And they were out in California. Correct. They were out by Bakersfield at Edwards Air Force Base. Working out there, the husband was. And he was assaulting their own child. And so she was going to the church, the faithful way to fix these things, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And he pulled the gun out one day, like he was going to commit suicide or maybe shoot family members in their family. So she calls up the bishop, but she can't get a hold of him. He's out of town. So she calls the second counselor. And when she calls the second counselor, he talks the ex-brother-in-law down from using the gun. But that was it. No call to the authorities or anything. And then finally all that did get reported to the government. And when he was called to testify about this gun incident, his response to the prosecutor was, "Oh, I vaguely remember somebody saying something about it." But he wouldn't actually come forward and actually testify that, you know, I can't imagine anyone being in a bishopric talking to somebody, talking him down from using a gun on himself or his family, and then saying, "I vaguely remember it." But, you know, it's just par for the course. I think the church tries to always just look like everything's roses, and it isn't.
Yeah,
you know,
John,
there is a lot of abuse.
John, as an attorney with 35 years experience, based on what you've told me, I will tell you the jury knew. The jury knew exactly what was going on.
Yeah. Yeah, sadly enough, he didn't get convicted because the church kind of, I feel like the church protected itself over protecting my niece. that was involved with that abuse. It's
Yes.
just really heartbreaking, the fact that they can get away with so much in our society. I'm all for 501c3s doing charitable work, giving 5% of their income to help out, doing good in our communities. But these guys can't even get away with doing 0.5%. And still nobody ever calls them on the carpet,
Well, there's nobody around to,
Yeah.
because God apparently is not in his heaven, because all is not right with the world.
Yeah. It's really sad. I mean, it's really fine to go and sing your songs on Sunday and pretend that everything's good. There's so much abuse that goes on. I mean, the abuse that my mom and dad, they were traditional. I mean, they had 11 kids, and of those 11 kids, I would say severe abuse happened at least 7 of them, at least. Me and my little sister were the main ones that I know of, but all of them, I had a sister, she went on a date. My brother just became a branch president out in Oklahoma. And so now he's got, in his mind, a lot of authority. And she goes on a date with a guy that she had to kind of run from because she felt like he was maybe going to do something very inappropriate with her. And my brother says to her, "What can we do in the future so that you don't get in these situations?" Insinuating that it was all her fault for having someone catch an eye to maybe do ill will towards her, And I'm just so tired of repeated abuse in the church. And, half the kids I grew up with, I knew their parents had abused them pretty severely. And it was just
John,
when you get to the really about, go ahead.
Yeah, the story about your sister. I mean, it strikes me as so odd in a Mormon kind of way, because the typical response I would expect was, tell me who it is, because I'm going to beat the shit out of him.
Yeah.
Isn't that what most brothers would
at
say?
the time. Correct. Yeah, for me,
What
I
about you, Bill? What do you
was
think?
in the service, I was an excellent shot, and I was like, I got a sniper rifle right here. I could deal with this, but I was like, no, I need to do it the right way, the way the Lord would do it. And,
So you
nothing ever
crucified him.
happened.
So you freaking
Sorry, I didn't hear
crucified
that.
him, John. Good for you. Yay, John. That's why you're one of the top apostles.
Oh, yeah. That's
Yeah. Anyhow, not to bring a dark light on Mormonism after dark.
Dark, yeah, it's in the title.
Correct.
Yeah. Well, thank you.
But I really love your show, and I appreciate you guys.
Yep. Have a great day, my friend.
John, thank you for calling in. You
too.
hang in there. You rock.
I don't know if you know this or not, RFM. I started a trauma coach certification course like 3 months ago.
No, 3 months
Yeah,
ago. No, I didn't know.
Yes.
You do so much in secret from me, Bill.
There's a lot of things. So I want to get certified as a trauma coach. I want to doing things like the Almost Awakened podcast, which I've been having sort of a internal conversation about restarting and sort of getting going on that again.
Mm-hmm.
And trying to figure out ways to do that and having conversations behind the scenes. So anyway, taking a trauma course and how to coach people, how to help people that are sort of struggling with that. And there was one of the comments, somebody put this up. I'll just note this. When he said, oddly enough, his sister or whatever got back into a relationship with an unhealthy person when she had just
Yeah.
with
And
her
I
father.
said oddly enough, right?
Yeah. And it's the whole point you guys are pointing out, which is that strangely, there's this human quality where if shit got fucked up in our childhood, we sort of seek out subconsciously because we sort of would go, I don't want to be ever in that again. And somehow we find ourselves dating the person who's just like our mom. They have all the same flaws as our mother or our father. And we re-enter this subconsciously to try to resolve this shit that happened to us and end up repeating the cycle all over again. It's sort of crazy. Anyway.
You know what my shrink told me once?
What's that?
He said, "No one will ever love you like your mother did."
No one will
And then
ever
he
love
said,
your mother.
and then he smiled and said, "And no one ever should."
No. Oh. That's funny for all the wrong reasons. All
Well, I'm
right.
glad it's amusing you. I think it's a pretty good one too.
Yeah, it's a good one.
Is there anybody else on the phone?
There is. There's 2 more calls
Oh
before
my
we get
gosh,
to
they're
the
falling
show.
from the skies.
They are. This is, I believe, Landon. Landon, are you there?
Yeah, I'm here.
Okay. You're not the Landon I was thinking it might be, but
This is Michael
we'll take
Landon,
you. Well, this is
No.
Highway to Heaven right here.
Mormon style.
All right, Michael Landon.
I'm the brand new Landon.
Go ahead.
Yeah, I have a quick question for you guys. And I've never heard this covered in any of your discussions, but since the holidays and stuff, I've kind of fallen off the track. But I just wonder, so that you've talked about how the church is going through sort of a period of relearning, or they're kind of reshaping different doctrines, and they've disavowed different things. But my question is, how do you think the top 15 how do they arrive at these decisions? I mean, who sits down with Dallin Oaks and says, oh, you got to stop talking about it this way, and you got to start saying it this way? I mean, who is Dallin Oaks? Who is Russell Nilsson? Who are they listening to tell them to reform, or to sort of, reform the teachings that they've been teaching for the past 40 years? So, yeah, that's my question.
What I would say, Landon, as first off, I think the fact that there is so much disparity in different things taught by apostles, like David Bednar and his moral agency, you don't hear anybody else talking about that, right? In the current crop. And then you've got, President Nelson and his God's conditional love kind of stuff, or whatever. And each of these people, and of course, Dallin Oaks and his gay bashing all the time. And then Elder Holland with his I'm not gay bashing talks. But they all have their own little hobby or theme or thing that appeals to them, that they think is important, that they want to get out there. And I think that's an indication that there really isn't one person at the helm. I think they're held together sort of by this understanding that we all have and that they all grew up with as to what constitutes Mormon doctrine. But that is being threatened now in a way that I've never seen before. And tell me if I'm wrong about this, Bill. This is just sort of occurring to me. This established Mormon doctrine, which was like written in granite in the late 70s and in the 80s, and probably when Bill joined the church too.
Yep.
It was a stone. This is what we rested upon. And now in the last, since President Nelson became president, since Russell M. Nelson became president in 2018, which was 7 years ago, there was an article talking about 100 different changes he has instituted in the church in 7 years. And I think that kind of shaking is not good for the foundation.
Yeah. What I'll say to that, RFM, is you grew up with Mormonism in the late 70s through, for sure, I can testify, through the 90s and somewhere into the early 2000s. Your Mormonism and my Mormonism matched exactly. Anytime you and I have a conversation about what church or Mormonism or leaders or theology looked like, you and I were just always in every one of our conversations saying the same thing. That's not true anymore. Then I'll just note, this idea, I think you're right, by the way, that the way this looks to an outsider, it looks like there's some level of freedom for the leader to have a little bit of a gospel hobby. And then if they get too far off track, you get what President Hinckley did to President Nelson a conference later. When you give a positive talk about the use of the word Mormon as a way to put your underling in his place. And in this faith, there's enough examples, I think, of things happening where you can go, if somebody does get out of line, somebody else gets to come along who's got more seniority and sort of put a little bit of shame on in a kind way, but put a little bit of shame on. And so those guys have to be a little careful. And the people at the top of seniority have a lot more freedom than the people at the bottom.
Yes.
Yeah. And I think that logically makes sense.
Are you still there, Landon?
Yes, still here. Thank you for responding. That's really interesting to get your perspectives.
Awesome. Well, you're welcome, my friend. Thank you.
Well, thank you for asking the question, because it made that thought occur to me, which really had not in that way before.
Yeah. And that's really the cool thing. Thank you, Landon. That's really the cool thing about doing a show like this, where you sort of let the viewer, listener, sort of help control the narrative and what direction the show goes. Because you and I have spent a lifetime really understanding Mormonism in various ways, but a lot of overlap. But there are people who have had experiences or are going to say things that prompt a whole new direction in a conversation for you and I. So I think that's really cool. All right, there is one more caller, and I've shut off the phone line, so this will be the last call.
The last call of the night.
And then we'll spend a few minutes, if we got time, hearing what your other thought was.
I hope so.
Yeah. So, caller, the name it looks like maybe is Ash. Is that the name?
Yep.
All right, go
That's
ahead.
what I'm using.
Yeah.
Thank you. Yeah, I just wanted to see if you guys were aware of the latest debacle that has the flat Earth movement kind of in shambles, fragmenting a bit.
No, what happened?
I don't have all the details off the top of my head, but essentially someone funded 4 flat earthers, like main prominent members, and a crew to go to Antarctica to see the midnight sun, the 24-hour sun around the winter solstice. I think it's like 6 months. And none of them thought it was going to happen. And, you know, prominent members in the community are always saying, like, it's impossible to go there. The government won't let you. And just ignorant of all the science that happens there. And they live streamed it from, at one point, 10 different cameras.
It's funny that it's so
just
cold on
amazing to
opposite.
see.
I'm sorry, I was going to say, it's funny it's so cold on opposite ends of this flat disc.
Right. Yeah, and it's also funny to see, like, how immediately the responses are everything from green screen to the dome, like the Las Vegas dome. They built a dome. They have fake snow in there. To Satan is controlling the weather. We know that Satan can control the weather, like depending on which, you know, like none of them can decide on how to take it. And it just made me think of a really monumental book for my deconstruction was When Prophecy Fails by Leon Festinger. If I'm saying his name right. I think he coined the term cognitive dissonance.
Was that back in the 60s or so?
Everything from
60s,
I think
70s?
so, yeah, I'm pretty sure. Yeah,
Was he in
around that
politics?
time. And
Leon
yeah,
Schlesinger?
Leon Festinger, yeah.
It sounds familiar.
It's an amazing book, but one of the things he talks about is how there's like 3 main, like when it comes to these groups, even if there's a direct disconfirmation of your belief, once you've had enough personal investment or money or social pressure, there comes a point where it's almost impossible, like even a direct disconfirmation. And that's specifically what it focuses on, is groups that have direct proof that their prophecy, their main claims are false, and how none of them handle it. And it's such a good book. But anyway, I just think it would be a great thing to delve into in your show or some episodes sometimes. It's really, really funny what's happening right now.
Thank you. Yeah.
Okay, all I'm coming up with for Leon Schlesinger is a movie producer.
Sorry, Festinger.
Can you spell that?
Festinger, I think.
Festinger. Oh, okay, I've never heard of that before in my life.
Maybe put a
Yeah, I could have it wrong. It's been a while.
No. But I was just saying that the Schlesinger sounded familiar. And I thought politics, but it was movies. So, Leon Festinger.
Mormon Stories. Let me go find it here. Is saying Festinger. F-E-S.
Oh, is it an F?
Thank you, John. If that's you.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, well, that's completely different. Here he is. An American social psychologist.
Cognitive dissonance theory.
Very good.
Yeah, read that book if you haven't. I highly recommend it.
What was it again?
Festinger?
When
No,
prophecy
no, the
fails.
book. I'm sorry.
Sorry.
No, you're good.
Say that again, caller.
When prophecy fails.
When prophecy fails. Okay, great.
Yeah. Can I just say really quick, and just to get it in before we get towards the end of the show here, folks, we're trying to grow our mailer list so that we can keep in contact with everybody. Will you please just go on? It's a newsletter for the entire entity, so you'll get whenever a cool episode hits from Mormonism Live, Mormonism After Dark, Radio Free Mormon. We'll put it up there, and so that, we'll send you a link every once in a while saying, "Hey, this show is just a little better than all the rest," and something we'd suggest you pay attention to. So please join the newsletter. Very much just want to say that. Please hit the like button and the subscribe button. That helps us to grow. Those algorithms help YouTube to show us in front of more people. So if you're having a good time, hit the like button, hit the up button, and subscribe to the channel. So thank you. RFM, anything else? Anything else from you?
I have a couple of things. And nowhere am I going to talk about all the things I could. And
I'll let you go,
thankful
caller.
for
Thank
that.
you.
Yeah. I just books wise, I had gotten done reading Bleak House. Remember?
Yeah.
It's this big thing. I put it off because even though I love Dickens, I would keep going to books that weren't so thick, dense, and apparently complex. And it is complex. And I did an okay job keeping track of things for me. But it's a wonderful book. And then I capped it off by watching the 8-part miniseries Bleak House with Gillian Anderson in it as Lady Deadlock. So that was good. And that actually helped me understand a little bit more, condensing it and dumbing it down a bit for me. Yeah, that helps some. This person's related this way. Oh, this person is over. Okay, I got it now. Thank you very much. So that was really good too. But then, and this is what I'll be concluding with. So I was going to the grocery store to grab something, and coming out, went past the paperbacks, looked over, and Stephen King caught my eye. Not a new one, but an old one. And it's this one right here. Let me put my hand like that. Can you see that one, Bill?
Yeah, Salem's Lot.
So Stephen King, Salem's Lot. It's over there, 20%, tag. I said I got to. Even I had read this originally back in the 1980s, the early 1980s, mid 1980s, when I got turned on to Stephen King. And he had written this earlier, of course. I was surprised to find out it's as early as 1975. That's the copyright on this. I would have thought a few years later, but no. And the thing about this is I read it then, I've read it since, and this would be at least the third time. But it's been a while since I read it. And I know that this is from what I would consider Stephen King's, the apex of his career. Everything between Carrie and It is incredible. And there are times later on when he can recapture part of that, sometimes even for an entire book, but it's rare. But this is when he really, really had the chops, in my opinion. So I wanted to read something to you because it's just wonderful. This is what I mean. Before he had to just churn out a story, he could actually write things that were, I think, qualify as literature. Now, here we go. Oh, he's talking about this boy who's like 12 years old. This whole town's getting, spoiler alert, the whole town here is getting taken over by vampires, okay? Starting with one vampire, and then they hunt other people, and then they tell two friends, and then they tell two friends. So this one kid who's 12 years old has just come face to face with these vampires, right? And fought against them, and they had to leave, okay? Cool. And had to do with the cross. So, but his parents don't know anything about it. They're downstairs. They don't know about the vampires that are loose yet. And so this is what it talks about, this kid going to bed. And here's Stephen King writing about him. Before drifting away entirely, he found himself reflecting, not for the first time, on the peculiarity of adults. So here's Stephen King. This is one of his great strengths, is seeing things through the eyes of a young person, of a kid. He remembers. They took laxatives, liquor, or sleeping pills to drive away their terrors so that sleep would come. and their terrors were so tame and domestic. The job, the money, what the teacher will think if I can't get Jenny nicer clothes. Does my wife still love me? Who are my friends? Describing these as the tame kind of terrors, right? They were pallid compared to the fears every child lies cheek and jowl with in his dark bed, with no one to confess to in hope of perfect understanding, but another child. There is no group therapy or psychiatry or community social services for the child who must cope with the thing under the bed or in the cellar every night, the thing which leers and capers and threatens just beyond the point where vision will reach. The same lonely battle must be fought night after night, and the only cure is the eventual ossification of the imaginary faculties. And this is called adulthood. Boom. That's when I fell in love with Stephen King.
That is deep. There's a reason why we teach children that on some level, we convey generation after generation that there's a scary thing under the bed. Because we don't want to tell the kid that there's a child molester on every 2 blocks. And there's something about the mythical bad versus good, the mythical bad that exists in the world that serves a purpose that allows it not to ruin the innocence of a child by them knowing what really is out there. And Stephen King is using that sort of fear to prep you to feel things in the book about adults and what they have to wrestle with in order to engage this plague of vampires.
It happens every single time. And the thing about this kid is, right? And there are other kids, but they don't, this kid lives. Okay. That's all I'm saying. So it's because all the adults have to struggle. They have to go through this whole process, which is what makes it realistic, right? There's no freaking adult that goes, oh, vampires. Wow. Let me get my stake and my cross. It's something that they have to be dragged to. And some will not believe, even though it's right in front of them. Okay.
Yeah.
The kid, no, he doesn't have to go through that. And it's actually, I think, what saves his life in one of the first encounters, because he doesn't have to struggle with what's going on here. Is this person pretending to be a vampire? There's no such, because he knows there are vampires. So anyway, and here's this other passage. This one's shorter, okay? This is the last passage I'll read, but it goes along exactly with what you said. It's actually 2 pages later, though it's in a different chapter. And what it's talking about is this very ossification of the imaginary faculties that Stephen King talks about, where this older person, who's one of the group who are trying to figure out what the heck's going on, because even though they are trying really hard not to believe in vampires, there's weird stuff going on, and nobody can deny. He's talking about how it is that it's so difficult for him to get his head around this idea of vampires. So, if you're up to it, okay, he's in the hospital. He had a bit of a heart attack. He says, no, of course I'm up to it. I must be, if half of what I suspect is true. If half of what I suspect is true, right? He smiled bitterly. I've always considered myself a bit of a free thinker. Don't we all? I've always considered myself a bit of a free thinker, not easily shocked. But it's amazing how hard the mind can try to block out something it doesn't like or finds threatening. Now I'm going to read that again, okay? Because so often as a Mormon, I would put out of my mind and block things that I did not like or found threatening. I've talked to you before about knowing that there's a certain issue that I cannot go through that door and go down that path because there is danger there. There is danger, Will Robinson. I can sense it. And so therefore, I don't go through that door. I will think about something else. I'll think about that another day. And so, or I'll think about that tomorrow. And so this is what he's talking about here. Not that kind of thing. It is amazing how hard the mind can try to block out something it doesn't like or finds threatening. And then the analogy, like the magic slates we had as boys. If you didn't like what you had drawn, you had only to pull the top sheet up and it would disappear.
Deep.
Seeing is not believing. Believing is seeing.
Yeah. It's interesting danger. Like there are real dangers, and there are people who try to be guides on the way of this path of humanity and say, hey, like be aware, these choices are risky. They come with consequences. And then there are sort of fake dangers and getting people to be afraid of things that aren't even real, number one, or things that actually would have been beneficial to you if you would have been allowed to safely examine them. And it just strikes me that sometimes certain things they're not real danger. And it stops you in some fear of something that's invisible that could happen some other time and some other place. And then if you just stop and go, what would really happen if you investigated that thing in the here and now? Sometimes institutions and systems are keeping you away. And Stephen King, in writing his, by the way, Stephen King was my mom's favorite author, and he's a lot of people's favorite author, so that's nothing unique. But she would read every Stephen King book when it came out, and she loved them. There's something he does with his words where he's really grabbing all the time. He's grabbing the real thing that's felt in humanity, and he puts it. That's what great writers do, is they put the thing we're all sort of feeling but don't talk about out loud into the responses and reactions of a character in a book, but it gives us a chance to sort of feel some piece of human emotion that we ignore or distance ourselves from. And the two things you just read, I think, did a beautiful job of that.
Why is it, with 3 minutes left in the show, why is it that reading something that we already understand intuitively can have such an impression on us?
Yeah. Yeah, I think some things we don't feel anywhere else than when someone invites us to safely feel it within the pages of a fictional story.
For me, that longer passage, the first passage I read, was so powerful to me because it was brilliant in that it reminded me of what it was like to be a kid. It's terrifying.
Terrifying.
Even under the best of circumstances.
Terrifying.
And I had good circumstances. It's terrifying.
You know, RFM, you come into this world, you're a breathing, you see, you can smell, taste, you have senses, whatever, but you don't know what the hell just happened, and you don't know where you are, and you have no narrative that explains to you what all this chaos is around you. And it's complete chaos because you have no meaning. You're not making any meaning out of it except day by day, piece by piece. You're not that much further ahead when you're 7 years old or 8 years old or 10 years old. You still can't make sense of this world around you, and you don't know what the structures of logic are. You don't know that because mom says there's nothing under the bed, and every time you look, there's nothing under there. That means there's nothing under there. Your brain says that's bullshit. Maybe there's something under there. Yeah, it's crazy. That's anyway.
Actually, it's worse than that.
Yeah.
You know something's under there.
Yeah.
It's not, I think maybe something that's under there.
And you have dreams, and your dreams feel real, and you have nightmares, and your nightmares feel real, and you don't have the experience as a human being yet to cleanly delineate those lines of where's reality and where it isn't. When I wake up from a dream, what's real and what's not? As an adult, you dream something scary and you immediately go, oh, that's just my dream. But as a kid, you just woke up in reality, from one reality to another.
Right. Okay, Bill, really quick.
Yes.
What was your worst nightmare as a kid? And then I'll tell you mine.
I love it. Let's take a moment here. So
I can tell you mine while you think about it, because I don't have to think.
No, I got it. But,
okay.
I am like, I'm going to guess, I'm 7 years old. I grow up in a family that is not religious. We had a family Bible in the home that I would look at from time to time. When I was a teenager, I'd look at it because it had scantily clad Adam and Eve and all that kind of stuff. So a little racy, you know, it's my little access to semi-nudity. And but as a 7-year-old, I had no clue about anything about religion. And at 4, like, I don't know, I'm gonna say like 4 in the morning, 3 in the morning, sometime like the dark of night. And I hear this like yelling in a demon voice. It's sounds like fucking Satan himself. And he's between me and my parents' room. That sound is from between me and my parents' room. So I don't know what to do. I'm scared. And I stay there for a while, but it won't go away. And so then I get up and I try to make my way to my parents' room. And I get all the way to the living room, which is one room away. I've crossed through the rest of my bedroom. I've crossed through the dining room. I've crossed into the living room. And I'm 7 years old and the voice is still there and it's louder.
You're going toward the voice?
Because I have to get my parents to save me because the voice keeps going. I try to just sit it out and hope it goes away, but it doesn't.
That's horrific. I love it.
It is. And so I get into the living room and it's louder and it's more demonstrable. And so I am just like, I'm 7 years old. I just turn and I go back to my room. And to this day, there's a part of me that goes, that was real, Bill. Like that was so real to that 7-year-old kid, that dream. That 7-year-old, that my 46-year-old brain goes, as a skeptic, knowing it's all bullshit, goes, I don't know, man. That voice was pretty convincing on that day when you were 7 years old.
You know what's funny is you use the word demonstrable, and demonstrable starts with the word demon.
Demonstrable, yeah. Demons.
No, absolutely. I don't know. I've had things like that too. 2 of them. Once when I was a little kid, once when I was like 19 years old. And I'm pretty dang sure I wasn't asleep because I never fell asleep. Or did I? That's like I was looking today. Another listener had sent me a clip of it's going around. It's getting a lot of traction in these last day folks. You know, they're all chomping at the bit to see Jesus again. And he's talking about this story of a dead dad coming back, you know, somebody coming back from the spirit world. And it turns out, it's titled President Nelson's Grandfather Comes Back, but it's not supposed to be to President Nelson. It's supposed to be to his dad. So anyway, he's reading this journal from his dad about how his dad's dad had passed away. And a little bit later, he walks into his bedroom. Okay. And as he's describing it, it's clear it's at night and the guy who's experiencing it is in bed. And I don't know, has the idea of a dream occurred to anybody? I mean, how many people dream that someone that was near to them who's passed away comes back? I'm guessing a few. Oh, anyway, so my story.
Yeah, your scariest dream.
Right. Now, I hope this isn't a letdown, but it's like 6th grade, 12 years old, live at the Village Green Apartments in Kent. And down behind it, there's a gravel parking lot. It wraps around from the front. And there's a playground with the standard stuff, okay? And we'd go down there and we'd have fun. And there was a slide and, you know, the little thing you'd run around and jump on. And swings and a teeter-totter. Yeah. So, but that's down there. And next to it on this side, if I'm looking from the apartment building down there to the playground, over here is this big field, and it runs alongside the apartments and alongside the fencing. And on the other side of the field is forest. Just this huge line of big, beautiful trees. And I think a lot of them were maples, and they've been there a while. They're just huge. But it's just like this wall of forest, okay? Now, beyond the field from the playground. Having told you that, this will make this telling of the dream much quicker. Is I'm in the dream and I'm in the playground and we're playing around and just having a great time. You know, most of my dreams, if I think about it, most of my dreams are I'm in a large group of people and we're all having a good time. And it was true then.
Yeah.
I'm in the playground, we're all having a good time. And then all of a sudden I look up, everybody's gone. All the laughter has been cut off, just like lifting the needle off the record.
Yeah.
and no one's there. And that's when I get the feeling, this can't be good.
Yeah.
And I turn around, and I can't remember if I heard it first or if I turned around first, but I end up hearing this sound, and it sounds like the buzzing of a million angry hornets. It was so loud and so menacing. And I turn around because it's coming from the forest. And I know it's coming actually from beyond the forest. It was a strip of trees, as it turns out. It's beyond the forest. And I know that something absolutely horrific is going to appear from the forest, either above it or out of it. And it's going to scare the bejesus out of me.
Yeah, it is.
And that's when I woke up.
Don't we always, like I should say always, it's not true, but doesn't it seem like in these horrible nightmares, you wake up at like the worst moment when you actually have to wake up and go, oh my God, I have to figure out whether this is real or this isn't. Yeah.
I think one of the reasons I remember is because it caused such distress and fear in me. And also because of this idea that no matter what had come out of that, if something had come out of that forest, no matter what had come out of it, it wouldn't have been scarier than what I was anticipating.
And that's the very thing right there that Stephen King was playing on.
Yes. Very good. Way to bring it around. You're amazing. What a wonderful host you are.
Oh, what a great show it was, RFM. I really appreciated our conversation tonight. I laughed. I find that Fridays are equal to or surpass the other moments in the week where I'm laughing. I have a great time with my girlfriend. We laugh a ton, but there's a lot of laughs in tonight's show, and I really enjoyed it. So thank you so much for all the things you brought to tonight. Thank you, viewers, for what you brought.
Yes. It's like stone soup. Everybody brings something and puts it in the pot, and then we all get to enjoy a nice soup.
Yeah.
I'll bring the stone.
There you go.
So everybody, thank you so much for joining us. It's been a great Friday night. We're at an hour 37. We're a little bit over. We apologize. I'm sure you've got things to do and people to see. But please come back next Friday night at 8 o'clock p.m. Mountain Time for the next episode of Mormonism After Dark. Good night, Bill. Good night, everyone.
Good night.